So hello students, today we are going to start a new module in our course, which is random variables. Now whatever we have studied so far is based on the theory of probability, which is event based theory of probability. That theory in itself is a very beautiful theory, but the problem with that theory is every time you have to understand the sample space. Given an experiment, every time you have to understand the sample space and then design the events accordingly and then assign a probability measure. After assigning the probability, you are restricted to only events and you cannot do interesting observation, interesting computations like addition, multiplication or division. All those things are abundant if we are using the theory of probability in terms of events. So few probabilists thought that, okay, how can I do addition, multiplication or division or subtraction in the theory of probability. So they came up with a concept that is random variable. So what is a random variable? So essentially, when you are considering probability experiment and you are considering random probability experiment means random experiment. When you are considering a random experiment, you are assigning the events, you are finding out the events and you are assigning to those events non-zero probabilities or zero probabilities based on our axiomatic definition of probability. So what if I can map those events as subsets of real line? In some cases it happens automatically. In some cases it doesn't happen automatically because for example, coin tossing experiment, head and tail are the outcomes. They are not numbers, they are alphabets. We have characterized them as alphabets H and T. So in such cases, if we can map those alphabets to numbers, it will only suffice to have the numbers. That is where the concept of random variable popped in. So the advantages of studying concept of random variables is, first, with conventional approach to probability, our scope is actually limited to events and computation. This should be computation, it's a spelling mistake. Sorry, draw. There should be a computation, TA. Computation of events by means of union intersection, and every time doing the same thing again and again is very boring and time consuming. Therefore, the solution that as I mentioned was figured out is if we are able to map the outcomes of the sample space omega to a real line. If we can do so, right now we don't know whether we can do so or not. So if we can do so, then we can use the structure of a real line, the calculus and algebra of real line, which gives us a better flexibility and helps us understand probability theory better. How? I will make it more precise through examples. To summarize, what I have mentioned right now is, if we can define a function, say x, from omega to r, then our life is easy and the structure of real line is available to us. That is why the concept of random variable actually popped in. So once I have understood the concept of random variable, we have to properly define what is a random variable. So as I mentioned earlier, a random variable is nothing but a function that assigns the value in r to every possible outcome in omega. That is, x is a function which is defined from omega to r. So I have already given you an example of a tossing of a coin where the outcomes are head and tail and there are no numbers associated with this. So how can we associate numbers with it? So a tossing of a coin twice. So let us list all the outcomes that are available to us for tossing of a coin. You can do it anyways. You can use sequential display of diagram or sample space. These are the outcomes. Then x is a function which maps the outcomes from omega to r. So in this case, x is given to be number of heads. Okay. So if I take so x is a function, right? So x of omega, x of hh is what? The number of heads, right? So it is 2. Right? X of ht is what? The number of heads, so it is 1. Th is 1 and tt is 0. So I have mapped the elements of this sample space omega to a real line, right? So this is interesting thing, and therefore now I don't need to deal, anytime I need to deal with this particular sample space, I don't have to worry about this sample space, but I need to worry about only these outcomes. Those outcomes are 0, 1 and 2. These are the outcomes that I need to worry about if I am considering this as a random variable. So natural question is how to assign probabilities associated with this to this set. How to assign probabilities associated with this omega to this set, that we will see in a short while. Let us understand these random variables better. For example, now let us consider an experiment of rolling a die. So what is the sample space? Let me write down the sample space omega. It is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, right? So this is already a real line, but now further I can assign a function. So omega is in R itself, it's a subset of R. So now I am taking a function x as the outcome is even. Okay, so if the outcome is even, that means I am just marking whether the outcome is even or odd. That means if the outcome is not even, I will assign this to be 0, and if the outcome is even, I will assign it to be 1, so that I will have the knowledge that outcome is even. So in such case I will assign random variable like 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. In a similar manner, this is for x. In a similar manner, you can consider this y, which is the outcome is less than 3. So I am only interested in whether the outcome is less than 3 or not. So in this case, I will mark this as 1, 1. Here outcome is equal to 3, so I will mark it as 0, 0, 0, 0. Right? So now I have actually shown you something interesting. By taking the values on numbers, I am actually, if you look at the random variable y, if you look at this random variable, I am actually using the order structure of real line. I am using a property of real line that the outcome is even. Right? And what I am doing is actually this x is a function of omega and y is also a function of omega, but I am defining functions of random variable also, because if I consider this to be a random variable z, which is which is actually defined like from omega to r, because now omega is itself is a real line, so z of omega is equal to omega. If the function is defined like this, then I am listing all these outcomes as z. Okay, and all these outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like identity function. Okay. Now when I am considering this, x is actually a function of z and y is also a function of z. So what I have shown here is, once we have a random variable, we can talk about functions of random variables. That also we can talk. That's the beauty, and that gives us more flexibility. For example, when I am considering an experiment, I may not be interested in what is the outcome, but I may be interested in the parity, that is whether it is even or odd. Right? In that case, my variable of interest should be x. Right? And in the second case where we have considered y, I am not interested in outcomes that are greater than 3, greater than or equal to 3. So my priority is to consider the outcome that is less than 3. So this gives us a vast flexibility. Otherwise what you need to do is, so essentially if you look at these 2, 3 random variables, this random variable x is only we have to deal with only zeros and ones. for y also we need to deal with zeros and ones. Okay. So rather than dealing with 6 elements, I am dealing with only 2 elements. That's the beauty of this random variables. So let us go further and explore this. Yes, of course, this shows that we have several variables for same omega. Right? So in fact I have given you 3. Now let us take up this example. Here something n is missing, breaking a stick of unit length. So and x is the location of a break. Okay, so in this case what should be my omega? Omega will again be a real line because it's a stick of unit length. So I will assume at one end it starts with 0, at one end it ends with 1. So it will be an interval 0 to 1, closed interval 0 to 1, correct? And x of omega is omega because the location is break. So x of omega is again omega, and that will give me the location of the break. Suppose the stick is broken at level half, then I will get x of half is equal to half. That's the random variable. But this random variable has different behavior because in all other cases which we have discussed for random variables, the sample spaces were somehow discrete, correct? And in this case the sample space is being continuous. So therefore based on this idea, the random variables should be distributed into 2 parts, that is discrete and continuous random variables. There will be a third part which is called mixed random variables, but we will not study in this course. So this is not there in the course, but just for sake of completeness I am mentioning this mixed random variables, where they are neither discrete or they are partially discrete and partially continuous. That also can be studied, but that is not part of this course. So now what will be a discrete random variable? If you have a discrete sample space, it will lead to a discrete random variable, because if the sample space is discrete, you can assign the only countable number of values, at most countable number of values on the real line, right? If the sample space is continuous, then it will lead to continuous random variable. What do I mean by continuous sample space? We have already seen this, and right now I have given you one example where x of omega is 0, 1, breaking a stick of unit length, x of omega is 0, 1, that is a sample space of continuous length. Okay. So now one interesting thing is you can generate discrete random variables out of continuous random variables, but not vice versa is possible. Okay. So that we will see later. Before we close this introductory session, let me give you one warning of notation. So in this case, random variable is not really a variable, it's a function, right? So we have already seen it's a function x from omega to r. It's not a variable, but it is treated as a variable. So we are actually suppressing whenever I say x of omega is equal to some number r, which is a real number, right? So whenever I talk about this, I will suppress this omega. This omega will be suppressed, and I will talk about x is equal to r. Okay. So when I talk about this, what do I mean by x is equal to r? Let me elaborate a bit. That is, if I say set of all omega belonging to omega such that x of omega is equal to r. Okay. This set is what I denote in shorthand as x is equal to r. Okay. So now there should not be any confusion when I mention x of omega is equal to x is equal to r. When I say x is equal to r, I am referring to this set. So in that spirit, the random variable is x, therefore we are treating it as variable. This is an abuse of notation, again I am repeating, but it is treated as a variable which is in this manner, x is equal to r. and this R is a lowercase letter all the time, and capital X means uppercase letter. So R is actually a realization of X in the on the real line. So the realization is denoted by small letter and the random variable is denoted by capital letter. While answering the questions, you should always make a distinction between small letter, secondly P and the firstly P. That is about introduction to random variables.